All right, hello. Just explaining a bicep workout that I did 5/9/2025. The first exercise, well, so I did them circuit style, one after the next. Just rested to change the weights. Started off with alternating hammer curls, then I went to concentration curls, and then just a supination. So started off 13 pounds for 12 on the hammer curls, 18 pounds for 12, 23 for 12, 28 for 8, and then 33 for 6. And then I just did a down set of 13 pounds for 30 reps. On the concentration curls, I did use a 2-inch handle on the concentration curl just for a different feel. Started off 15 pounds for 12, 20 for 12, 25 for 12, 30 for 8, 35 for 6, and then a down set of 15 for 30. The supination, 6 pounds for 12, 8 pounds for 12, 11 pounds for 12, 13 for 12, 16 for 8, and then 8 for 30. So pretty straightforward. Just worked up to a heavier set and then did one down set. All circuit style, just rested enough to change the weights. Then later in the evening, I did a second workout. This one was just kind of one I threw together with just some not really isolation exercises per se, but they were more for like endurance. The first one I did was the gyro sledge in the curl position. I do feel like the weight that I used was a little bit too heavy, and you will kind of notice that in the video. I couldn't do it for very long, but I was already in the routine, so I said to heck with it, you know. And it was very strenuous there towards the end. So I do feel like it was beneficial, but I think next time I'll lower the weight on the gyro sledge in that curl position. I think I did 6 pounds. I think if I lowered it to maybe just 2.5 pounds on the sledge itself, because the sledge itself does weigh quite a bit. I would say maybe 12 pounds, 15 pounds, somewhere in there. The next one I did was just a shot put toss. Just a shot put that I have here. It's a 12-pound shot put, and nothing too crazy, but just toss it from hand to hand. Trying to keep my arm bent in the bent position as I'm doing it. I only have one. I have thought about maybe getting another one and trying to juggle them, but that would definitely be something I would do outdoors, and probably with some shoes on as well. Probably afraid I'd probably smash my toe. But the last exercise I did was a battle rope slam, and I just counted to 100 as I was doing it, and I just repeated that 3 times. So by the end of that, I was burning pretty good in my biceps, and also my back was kind of getting a little bit sore from all of it. So my like middle back. So not for sure why that was, but it did happen. So I almost think my back was more sore than my biceps were. So not for sure, why, but it was. So just a nice quick workout. I think it only took about maybe 6 to 8 minutes total. Just hit it hard, got it done. And my biceps are pretty sore today, so I do think this routine was beneficial. But there are a few things I would change. Like I say, the gyro sledge, I would lower the weight on that. I do feel like the routine that I did earlier in the day was pretty decent. I don't think I would change really anything about that one. I think that was pretty spot on. The weights were pretty spot on, at least for me anyways. So yeah, but the only thing I would change is probably the weight of the gyro sledge, so I could do it for more reps. But I do feel like that was somewhat beneficial, I guess. Could always be better, but it is what it is. So that's all I got there. Pretty straightforward. If you have any questions, comments, or tips, just leave them down below. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you soon.